it's Yummy here. So today I wanted to do a video where I tell you what is it exactly that I'm going to be planning out for Camp Nanowrimo, my goals, what do I want to achieve, what exactly am I going to be writing about in Camp Nanowrimo, because it is something that I'm really excited about. It is the first Camp Nanowrimo, it's the first NaNoWriMo project that I participate ever, and it makes it extremely excited because I do have a set goal for myself, but I decided to change that goal because last night I was tallying up how many words as of March 24th I had written, and that kind of, you know, shifted the goal that I actually had in mind for myself, because initially I had a goal of 10k words. But let's get into this video. I'm going to tell you why was it that it changed, and then I'm going to be telling you specifically what is it that I'm going to be speaking about or writing throughout the month of April for Camp Nanowrimo. Me from the future. I forgot to mention what project I'm working on. Why would I not say it, or at least briefly mention it? I have no idea. I think I sort of went over it, but I'm not working any other project aside from Project Night Creature, which is the one that I've been roughly doing all my videos about. So that's the only thing that I'm going to concentrate on, just because I don't have anything else invading my mind at the moment. So Project Night Creature is the one that I'm going to continuously expand on, and that is the one that I'm extremely excited about. So I just wanted to say that, because just in case it wasn't clear, I don't know. Okay, now since March 24th until yesterday, March 30th, roughly a week, I've been doing this little pamphlet here. This is a daily word count that I decided to do for my Project Night Creatures. I didn't want to do it in my bullet journal just because I already had set the April bullet journal for March before March even finished, just because I was bored, you know, whatever. So like adding it in April, I was gonna feel a little bit weird, so I didn't add it. So I was like, you know what, let me just choose this. And in that week I managed to write a total of 10,572 words. So I was like, what? By having that in 1 week, I decided to change the goal of my Camp Nanowrimo, which was initially 10k. Then I changed it to 5k, then I went back to change it to 10k, just because I noticed that I was including a lot more in my story, and I already had like a certain place that I wanted to lead my story into. And then recently I already have, like I mentioned, my middle and my end, so of course I'm going to be expanding my world a lot more. So I was like, you know what, I can manage 20k in 1 month. At the rate that I'm going in April, there are a couple of weeks there, so I can think that I can get to 20k in 1 month, hopefully a lot more, but I'm really excited to accomplish the 20k goal for Camp Nanowrimo, just because I already know everything that's happening in my story, so that makes me extremely content. So basically doing this daily word count, I wanted to see how many words was it that I actually wrote in 1 week. That's why I was gonna be like, wait, am I going to be prepared for Camp Nanowrimo? What am I going to be specifically achieving? So by doing this, basically this was very good for my story and for my writing process, because I've gotten into a little bit of a routine. Sometimes I want to stay connected, like all day just writing and adding new scenes, but I've noticed that I don't need to do that as well. Yesterday I connected for like an hour, and I wrote a total of roughly 1,052 words. The reason that I got to a goal of 1,829 words was because I already had 2 scenes in the brain dump section that I wanted to include them in my story, just didn't know specifically where. And last night it just clicked, and I was like, wait, I can add this one here and this one here, which is roughly my transition into the second act. And I already know that I'm doing something right now, which is what I'm gonna tell you. Like, I've been writing down in my notebook like specific moments for each chapter that are really important. I have a total of 13 chapters already written, and I was like, you know what, let me just write a brief synopsis of every single little chapter in my notebooks, like that I know what I have until now, what descriptions am I giving, what am I mentioning. And then what I'm going to do is that I am going to roughly divide my entire middle and end into certain specific chapters, just because the structure guide that I use for Mary E. Pearson, which is one that I'm going to get a little bit into right now. So if you see glare, is because I'm going to be looking at my computer, so that's where you're going to see a bit of a glare. in my glasses. And now for the structure guide that I use for planning out and writing out my novel is the Mary E. Pearson structure guide for novel writing, and this is one that I briefly mentioned in my previous video. But here what I have is like roughly in the beginning, where I have it divided into 3 separate columns. What I did was that instead of including first scene, first chapter, first paragraph as the author does break it down into, I just wrote in parentheses first few chapters, and I have a total of I have 11 chapters because I have currently 13, but I have all 11 chapters mapped out with a brief little description of what is that chapter about. In my notebook, I'm going to go into full-on detail as to what descriptions, what characters am I mentioning, even the eye color of somebody, because I don't want to continue to be repeating it in every chapter just because it's unnecessary to be too repetitive. So that's what I'm doing with my computer, with my notebook, like adding those little notes that are really crucial and important. So that's what I roughly have in my first column. So as for my second column within the beginning, which is roughly the setup, and this is where it says that you're going to include your first chapter, but I obviously divided into separate sections, which is intro of quest, characters, and setting. I have obviously what's going to introduce my character into their quest that they're roughly going to achieve. What I was thinking about was, because my inciting incident and my catalyst were roughly in the first instance that I had written this story, I was just bombarding you with the catalyst, and I was like, you gotta build it up. You can't just thrust people into your story. You need these people to love your character, which is one thing that I had mentioned in one of my previous videos that I needed to change, because I need people to fall in love with my characters as much as I love them. I roughly have like a lot of information for my intro quest, and then I have all my characters. At least I do have a lot of characters in my notebook. I just haven't written them here in the outline just because I don't want to include them yet there. I already know which are my main characters. There's one guardian that eludes me. There's supposed to be 5 guardians in total, and I still cannot think of one of them. So that's just right there. It's waiting to be filled. Not gonna be a lot of romance, but there are gonna be a little minimal hints of it. You know, it's not going to be overpowering in the story because I don't want that. I want it to be an adventurous story. Then I have the settings that I'm going to be using. There are ones that were question mark that I noticed yesterday, and I was like, wait, I already have this. Let me just add it. Just because I hadn't gone back into the beginning section of my structure guide, just because I knew that I had to change a lot of things, because like I said, I revamped, rechecked, restructured a lot of things. So I was like, let me just go back and fix it so I can have everything exactly as I have it in my story. So yeah, that's what I wrote, and that's what I added. And in my other one, which was the one that I mentioned, my inciting incident and my catalyst, I already had little bits written and I had to erase, and I added my inciting incident and that catalyst that's going to happen. And I also added like a little twist that's going to be very prominent in the middle of the story. But I also added in the bottom part of the column, I added the POVs that I'm going to be using. So far there are 3 POVs and scrolls scattered throughout the book of important fights, wars, maybe monsters, maybe things that happen, or watchers, maybe guardians that are really important. In my middle, this is where I have a lot of information, but it is not structured by chapters, which is what I'm going to be doing for today. I already know where the journey begins and the battling doubts, because this is where a meeting is going to happen, and a lot of conflicting ideas are going to be shared upon the table, if you will, and other little things that I already had. The reason that I have a little bit of a middle was because I already had in my brain dump section a scene for the relationship development, but last night I expanded on that scene, which was with something that I was working on, and it just like clicked, like, wait, I can add this here afterwards. And then I was changing a few things. I was like, okay, now I got it. And in another section in my column, I have 3 columns in this section, roughly like 6, because there's another part also. And this is where the plot and relationships development, gaining new information. This is where the twist, the reveals, maybe escalating complications happens. And what I have written down, it's like these basically criterias, and I've written little paragraphs of what I want to include there, so then later on I can expand and know that this is gonna be a complete chapter. I have a twist that I want to happen, which I'm not gonna say. I'm going to be giving subtle hints in like the beginning of a chapter that I'm going to be working on right now, because it's like towards the middle of it. but I'm not gonna say it, obviously. The other column, I have my mid story turning point. This is roughly where they have to go in order to achieve something. That's all I'm gonna say. But I have it exactly right there. I just have to figure out a name for this realm, because I already have like 3 or 4 realms that have come to my mind, but this name of the realm, I still don't have it. And then we have venturing deeper into the lion's den. Again, this is where things start to escalate. Shit is going down and we don't know what's gonna be happening. Then there are the unraveling events that go from bad to worse. So again, shit is gonna go down, things are gonna happen, people might lose their lives. We're gonna still figure that out, because I don't know how I feel about killing a character, just because I don't think it's necessary for the story right now. I would like to, let's be real, I would like to, but it doesn't fit my story, and I don't want to kill this person off just to have it ooh and all within my audience. I need for it to make sense, and I need for it to be real. But there is something that's gonna happen. I'm just not gonna say what it is. Then we have the lowest point, all is lost. Again, you know, we have this same kind of vibe going on. Shit is gonna go down and things are going to escalate quickly. And then we have the end. You know what the funny part is about the end? Was that, like, me coming up that day with the final chapter, I already had in the brain dump section a chapter written, and then I was like, wait, let me just fix the ending of that chapter, and this is perfect for the final chapter, which is that emotional climax that I'm going to give, you know, like that quiet emotional conflict that's being given, that is going to be roughly a cliffhanger for the next book, because I want this series to be a duology. That's what I want it to be. But here in the end, I have the final showdown, the confrontation, you know, the battle. I have it written down into scenes as to what is it that's going to happen to these characters. Then I have the aftermath of that scene. Did they lose what they were supposed to get? Has the prophecy come true? There's a lot of things that, again, that are, you know, going down. Resolution, loose ends are tied up. This is where other things become clear. And then, like I mentioned, I already have my final chapter written. So that's roughly my structure guide for Project Night Creatures. What I want to do today is to concentrate on my middle as to how I'm going to be structuring my chapters. So that's what I'm going to do. And when I get farther into that, I'll update you as to how many chapters I have roughly in the middle, and, you know, maybe other little details that I can give you. So I know you can hear a lot of noises, and I apologize for that. I meant to film this earlier, but I completely forgot, just because right now is when I think I actually finished. I managed to get at least 10 chapters out of everything that I had already outlined within the middle. I haven't finished, but at least 10 is what I have as of right now, and those 10 are the one that I'm going to continue to expand on throughout the start of Camp Nanowrimo. So yeah, that's what I have planned. I'm really excited. I can't wait to see what else I come up with, and maybe this, you know, might expand a lot more. So I'm really content with what I've got so far. What do I plan to do? I plan to participate in a lot of live streams, because I have my calendar already filled out, more than 10 live streams. There are going to be a lot of live streams throughout the month of April, which is something that I'm really excited for, because I've noticed that I'm very productive throughout these live streams. So yeah, I can't wait to start. I'm so excited. So tomorrow I'm gonna start vlogging. It's gonna be weekly vlogging, just because, like, your girl daily vlogging. It's not gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen. But yeah, I want to say thank you for watching. Hope that you have a wonderful day and or night, and I'll see you in my next video. Peace.